All right, so here's the second part. A ball is dropped from rest, height of 80 meters above the ground. What is the speed just as it hits the ground? How long did it take to reach the ground? So let's do the first one. I treat them as separate problems. So the first one I do is, all right, I'm given an XF or D. And again, you might be just given display. You might just be using the letter D. I use XF, so tough. I give you both. All right, it goes 80 meters down. All right, we need to know the velocity. So I need to know V equals question mark. That's final velocity. It dropped from rest, so the initial velocity is 0. And of course, we know gravity is always negative 9.8. Now, I don't know if you have an equation like this, but you could have Googled it if you didn't have it from your teacher. There's a formula that says VF squared is equal to VI squared plus 2AD. Okay, so that's the formula that's going to work best with this because I don't have time in my list of givens yet. So, and I'm looking for V, not T. So I'm going to do a little algebra here to get V final. So V final, all I need to do is square root both sides so that the V final, the squared goes away over here. So there we go. So I have now, it's going to be VF is equal to the square root of VI squared, which is 0, plus 2 times A times D. And I should have just put it in, but whatever. Okay, so then I do square root of 2 times negative 9.8, because that's always acceleration. And oh, wait a minute, I got an 80. I'm going to get it. I can't square root a negative number. Well, really, it's going to be that the negative 80, it fell down 80 meters also, so these negatives will cancel out. I always have my students write down negative 9.8, but if they're about to square root a negative number, it's got to be canceled out somewhere. Okay, so square root, square root 2 times 9.8 times 80. And I get an answer of 39.6 meters per second. All right. Now, part 2, or part B, how long does it take? So now I'm looking for time. T equals question mark. I could use this answer if we want to. So you're more than welcome to use that answer. I always like to show it in case we did not have step 1. Let's practice it as if we had to go straight to B. So I have T, acceleration is negative 9.8. Initial velocity is still being dropped, so it's still 0. And XF slash D, how far, is still 80. And we notice that it's really negative 80 so that it would cancel out. All right, you have the formula. I have a formula that looks like this: XF VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Okay, the initial velocity was 0, so that gets crossed out. So really we just have XF is equal to 1/2 AT squared, and you're solving for T, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Yoink, yoink, and I have 2XF is equal to AT squared. Now I'm going to divide both sides by my A, because I'm solving for time. How long does it take means time. So that crosses out. So I have 2XF divided by A is equal to T squared. And my last step is square root. So I have T by itself is equal to square root of 2XF over A. And you probably have D instead of XF, but that's okay. No big deal. Square root 2 times 80 divided by 9.8. Yes, they're really negatives, but they canceled out. So I can do second square root 2 times 80 divided by 9.8. And I get an answer of 4.04 seconds. Phew. Okay, there you go.